Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening? This is, ah! Warning, spoiler alert, spoilers for WandaVision episode 4 and 5. You have been warned. Spoilers. Even though we already knew something was up, that fourth episode really brought it all together. Geraldine, who actually ends up being Monica Rambeau from Sword, which is like S.H.I.E.L.D. but for space. They like check out the threats that are coming from outside the planet, whereas S.H.I.E.L.D. takes care of the stuff inside the planet. Is this gonna set up some other stuff? Because we now talking about Sword, we talking about people in space. I know there's a certain group of 4 people that went into space one time and came back a little bit more fantastic. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we setting that up? We first find out that Monica Rambeau, she was blipped. She was one of the people that disappeared when Thanos did the... And so the very first scene of episode 4, you actually see her coming back. Her mom helped create Sword. She died of cancer while Monica was blipped. In case you don't remember, the little kid from Captain Marvel, that was set in the 90s. This is her now, Monica Rambeau, as an adult. Anyone that came back from the blip had to be grounded. So that's why she ends up on this case with Jimmy Woo, who you might remember as the agent from Ant-Man and the Wasp. He comes back. He learned that magic trick. Good job. And they're on this case where we find out that Westview is an actual place that's under an energy field. And inside the energy field is where we're getting all the sitcom stuff. We find that out through Darcy. Remember Darcy from Thor and Thor: The Dark World? She comes back and she realizes that there's a way that you can see what's going on inside through television where it looks like a show. There's also this weird thing where like no one even knows that Westview is there. Like there was a scene where Wu and Rambeau were talking to the cops and they were just like, there's no Westview. They're like, well, what's that place right there? Well, that's Eastview. And there's literally a sign right beside them that says, welcome to Westview. So not only are the people inside trapped inside doing their thing, but everyone outside doesn't even know the thing exists. Weird. Rambeau just walked right up, touched it, got sucked in, and that's how we got Geraldine. Oh, and let me just say, Monica Rambeau, you know how I have my my crushes, my pop culture crushes. Yeah. Geraldine, Monica, I don't care. Either one. I've been quarantined for too long. Once you go inside of Westview with this energy field, you definitely get turned into the television version. The helicopter, like that was something that was a drone when it was on the outside and got turned into the helicopter toy on the inside. When you see this beekeeper in the second episode, you're like, who is this dude? And it turns out it was one of the Sword agents. He was all in protective gear and he climbed into the world through a sewer. But when he's past the energy field, his outfit changed to a beekeeper outfit. His rope that they were having connected to him got changed to one of those old jump ropes, you know, like the little plastic jump ropes with the different colors. We see this whole sequence where they're figuring out that every single person on the show is actually a real person. They have an ID and everything. However, when they showed the wall of people, Agnes, I don't think they had an ID for her. And Dottie, I don't think either they didn't have an ID for her or I don't think she was even on the board at all. So again, there's something about those two. Something about Agnes and Dottie. What's going on? And when we see that exchange between Wanda and Rambeau, oh my gosh, when Wanda realizes that you ain't from here, that whole sequence was so like intense. What's so funny is we technically already saw it in the 3rd episode and that made it intense. But then we got to see the full scene in the 4th episode. And even though I knew what happened, it still was intense. It still was like a scary moment. And if you look really closely, she goes through a number of walls before she's ultimately outside. So technically, Rambeau broke the 4th wall. The show, man! That's when we really got to see this darker side of Wanda, and it really got defined that Wanda's doing this. Oh, and I even talk about Vision coming back dead. Oh my gosh. So we see Vision for all these episodes, and he's all like, oh, Wanda, I'm normal, nice and normal. And we're all like, well, wait. I remember that Thanos did this thing and you was all, and I'm like, so why are you here? And then we find out that is all, and then Wanda's just using her Wanda magic and he's all normal. And I'm like, oh my God. So she's rolling around with a dead dude. Like, what the hell? Sorry, folks, we had some technical difficulties there, but don't worry, I am back, and no, my clothes did not change. Now, episode 4 was really good. I don't know if episode 5 can top episode 4. Let's find out if it can. One episode 5 later. All right, here we go. Hang on, everybody. This is going to be a ride. We're going to talk a little bit longer today because we got a lot of stuff to talk about just about episode 5. Oh my gosh. We are in the 80s now, people, and it came strong with the theme song. This is probably one of my favorite theme songs / intros. Making it up as we go along. I love that. Right from the beginning with the painting, the like black and white painting that the brush is coming in to color it in. Completely referencing Family Ties, the exact same thing. The boom, 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 boom. What we do, baby, without us. Photos of each cast member, but showing them in various ages. That is totally from Growing Pains. Growing Pains is the exact same thing where each cast member, they had them as a baby and as a child, and then how they look today. Show me that smile, look. Show me that smile. Don't waste another minute on your crying. I also love all the random photos of various times in their lives. That's very much an 80s sitcom staple. But what did I say? What did I say in the last video? The one thing I needed this show to do, Elizabeth Olsen is, of course, the sister of Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen. I just need a Full House moment in WandaVision. Can we make that happen, please? I was thinking about catchphrases and all that stuff. Why did my brain not think intro? This show references Full House in its intro. The shot where they're running and the camera's kind of low and like going up towards them as they're running. There's literally a shot just like that in the Full House intro. The shot in the intro of WandaVision where they're sitting outside having a little picnic and the camera pans out. There's a shot like that where the Tanner family is having a picnic and the camera pans out in the Full House intro. They freaking did it! They did it! And not only do they reference Full House in the intro, but the 80s sitcom tropes run deep in this episode. There are moments where Wanda is giving a lesson to her kids and they totally play that sappy music in the background that you hear in all the TGIF shows like Full House, Family Matters, Perfect Strangers. They hit that perfectly. I loved how Agnes in this is playing total hardcore 80s wacky neighbor. I love that she's also very oversexed. She's talking about how her husband Ralph can't tame her. Wanda mentions her having a raging libido. I thought that was a nice reference because we always had that like oversexed lady in the 80s. You had Mona from Who's the Boss. You had Jackie and Sandra from 227. You had Blanche from the Golden Girls. And then she also was that wacky neighbor just doing weird stuff, doing her workouts and like rocking the babies really weird. And I felt that was a nice reference to the wacky neighbors like Kimmy Gibbler, Steve Urkel, Mr. Bentley from the Jeffersons, the Achmonics from Alf. Very good. The 80s sitcom tropes ran deep with this, and I appreciate that so much. You have no idea. But another trope that we see once again is these kids. They start off as babies, giving Wanda a bunch of trouble. I love that there was a moment where Wanda was like, I can't control these two, which I think was a double meaning dialogue again. Maybe it's something about her babies, about Billy and Tommy, that she can't control them the same way that she can control everyone else that she's controlling right now in Westview. There was this really weird moment where everything kind of stopped and they broke character while staying in their other character. Like they were in a scene where literally Agnes was like, do we need to take it from the top? Wanda kind of doesn't realize it, but Vision totally gets it. And he's like, Wanda, did you not just see what just happened there? Like she totally like blanked out there and we started over. And Wanda's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. The babies are quiet. Yay. And then the babies were missing. And then we look back behind Wanda and Vision and the babies are now kids. Like they grew up really fast. Like usually in a sitcom, your kid might grow up a few years in one season. This happens apparently on WandaVision in one scene. Oh my goodness. They go into another sitcom trope, which is the kids finding a dog. Can we keep him? And Wanda's like, well, I don't know if you are fully responsible yet to take care of a dog. You're gonna need to be at least 10 years old. So what do the kids do? They freaking grow up and become 10-year-olds. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So Vision notices that. He also notices that Agnes just happens to show up at the right moment with a dog house. He's all like, Agnes always seems to show up at the right time. And then when Wanda decides to give the dog a dog collar and she just makes it basically just pop up in her hand right in front of Agnes, Vision's like, look, I thought we were supposed to be keeping all this a secret here. And Wanda's like, whatever. I'm not going to keep my secret anymore. And you know what, Vision? Maybe you shouldn't either. Maybe you take off that human face. uh-oh, why? But we're gonna get out of the 80s sitcom right now, go back to outside of Westview. We're now cutting back and forth between the sitcom and the reality outside. So we get Monica getting checked up on, making sure that she's okay after her experience, giving some firsthand information to everybody. Darcy and Monica meet. Darcy already knows of Monica, is a big fan of hers. And then of course we gotta have the big debriefing where everyone's coming together. You got the head guy telling everybody this is what the situation is. What I thought was very interesting when they referred to her as Wanda Maximoff, the head guy was like, does she not have a nickname? Is there no nickname for her? Because obviously a lot of the Marvel heroes at this point, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Panther, Star-Lord, you know, everyone's got a nickname. And they were like, Wanda ain't got no nickname. And I'm like, they setting up that Scarlet Witch name. I think that's a setup to get that Scarlet Witch name officially up in here. Ooh. Monica tries to defend Wanda, be like, I don't think she's doing this all on her own free will. There's got to be some other reason behind this. And that's when the head guy was like, oh yeah, check out this footage. Click, we got the receipts. And they show this video of Wanda breaking in and stealing Vision's body. And that's why we got dead Vision being all like, I'm alive. What are you talking about? When something gets sent in to the world of Westview, then it changes to whatever time period. So they have the realization, what if we send something in there that's already from that time period, 80s tech, inside of a drone, then therefore it doesn't have to change and we're good. Then this discussion happens that I thought was very interesting. Wu and Darcy and Monica are talking about Wanda and her powers. And they're like, yeah, if you think about it, Wanda was like the closest Avenger to be able to take down Thanos. If he didn't have his full army, she might have been able to take him down herself. But then Wu was like, well, I don't know. Captain Marvel got pretty close to Thanos too. Did you see Monica's face when Captain Marvel got mentioned? Did you see how she quickly wanted to change the conversation when they started talking about Captain Marvel? And she was all like, ain't nobody talking about her right now. And I was like, oh, shoot. Uh-oh. Because I was wondering between the time of her being a kid meeting Carol all the way up to present day, had they had any interactions? It seems like some reason she may not be liking Captain Marvel right now. Like, I don't know if it's because they've had other issues have happened and she maybe thought Captain Marvel was supposed to help them and she never came back. Maybe something happened with Captain Marvel and her mom, because her mom was going up into space, so they've probably reconnected, even have any connection to her mom getting sick. Who knows? But for some reason, Monica ain't feeling Captain Marvel right now. Monica also mentions that she wants to call an aerospace engineer, and they make a big deal about that. You even see her texting on the phone. They do a close-up of that. So I don't know if that's like some, possible setup for a future Marvel cameo of either a character we already know, or maybe even setting up a brand new character. Do you know any aerospace engineers in the Marvel universe? Can we write some out, see who the possibilities could be? We go back inside to the sitcom where Vision is at work. He's really starting to realize something ain't up, because when he creates the internet, basically, he actually sees a message from Sword talking about what's going on. And then he touches one of the people's minds, and the guy that he touches completely comes out of the sitcom, and it's just like, where am I? What day is this? Please help me. We're hurting. This is painful. Please help me. And he's like, oh, shoot. Go back in. Vision sees the manipulation, and he, of course, believes this is all Wanda's doing. Wanda is with the kids, and the 80s drone shows up. What Monica didn't realize is that the other folks that put it together put some weapons up in there, and Wanda was like, oh, y'all throwing weapons at me? Do you know who I am? Them eyes turned red, and that drone was gone. She comes out of Westview. She just strolls out by herself, dragging the drone like it's a child that got in trouble, and was like, this yours? Wham! I don't want y'all around here. I'm happy here. If you leave me be, we good. But if you come in here trying to mess up my home, we got some problems. And she particularly talks about, plus I'm not going to let you try to use Vision's body again. And I was like, ooh, because, he's a robot man. He's made of vibranium. Were they trying to use Vision as a weapon? And maybe that's why she took him away. And just so that Wanda can prove, like, don't mess with me, don't F with me, she mind manipulates every person with a gun and has them all turn and face the gun at the head guy that's running the whole operation. And he's all like, whoa, hey, I'm sorry. And I was like, damn. It's like that scene in X-Men when Magneto makes all the guns turn around on all the cops. You remember that in the movie? So it's basically that, but instead of manipulating the guns, Wanda's manipulating the people holding the guns. And then she's like, leave me alone. You've been warned. Walks back inside, and you see all this red going on, and oh, it was so cold. We get a commercial. The commercial was for Lagos paper towels. When you need to clean up a mess, you gotta use Lagos. Is a reference to Captain America Civil War, where they were in Lagos. They were trying to stop Crossbones, and he tried to blow himself up, and Wanda specifically moved the bomb away to not hurt people over here, but accidentally got near a building where it really hurts the people over there. And that's what led to the whole, we got to register all the superheroes, which led to the Civil War when some people wanted to sign and other people didn't. All these commercials are referencing past events in Wanda's life, and that's really cool. They're also using the same actors, the same man and woman in every single one of those. Sparky the dog disappears, and Agnes, sus, seems to find the dog, who is now dead. Wanda's like, you got to accept this. Like, this is a lesson that you have to learn about loss. You can't just run away from your problems by growing older. To which the kids are like, well, can't you just fix the dead? And then even Agnes was like, what was that? What you say? You see how Agnes got all like, you can do that? What you talking about? Because the kids probably realized, well, Vision's dead and you brought him back, so can't you bring back our dog too? And Wanda's all like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Agnes is like, I think I know what they're talking about. Agnes is sus, y'all. Agnes is sus. Eject her. Vision's like, look, Wanda, we gotta talk. This ain't right. And I love the part when the credits start rolling, you get like the sitcom credits, and then they still keep arguing with each other while the credits are rolling. I was like, I freaking love that. For this to be the 80s sitcom, there's actually a lot of dramatic moments that happen in the sitcom portion. What I think it was referencing is what is referred to as the very special episode. That was when a sitcom you usually watch for like laughter and jokes and funny bits, would want to have an episode that gets very dramatic and wants to talk about some very serious issues. And then there comes a point where the argument gets real heated to where Vision floats up in the air, and then Wanda floats up in the air too, and she's like, you never talked to me this way. And I was like, oh shoot, they about to fight. That's not good. Okay, before I say this next part, I already told you spoilers will happen. But with this one part, this spoiler is so big that even with watching spoilers, I want to tell you again, spoiler alert. You might want to experience this part for yourself because it is amazing. So I'm letting you know right now, thank you for watching. If you do not want to hear this very last part, because it is a doozy. All right? You've been warned. You've been told. We cool? Cool. The doorbell rings, right? And I already was like, okay, that's a cameo because that's another sitcom staple, the special guest star. When it rings a couple of times, I'm like, okay, it's got to be an Avenger or something. And then she opens the door. They don't show who it is at first. And you see the back of somebody's head with silver hair. And I was like, oh my God, I had a feeling that they would bring Quicksilver into this because in addition to her losing Vision, she also lost a brother, Quicksilver. So I was like, all right, this is it. This is it. We got Aaron Taylor Johnson back on the show, right? And WandaVision was like, Aaron Taylor Johnson. That's good. That's sweet, Andre. Cute. How about this instead? And they turn that camera around. It's Quicksilver, but it ain't Marvel Cinematic Universe Quicksilver. Oh no. This Pietro is from them X-Men movies. We got the Evan Peters, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, Fox, Quicksilver. Pietro, we got Fox Quicksilver in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they even have a shot where Darcy's looking at TV. She's like, they recast Pietro? And he's all like, hey, what's going on? And there's a whole applause thing and everything. And I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. What is happening? What is happening? I've seen these movies and I've seen these movies, but they don't combine, but they just did. Now, this could just be a funny joke of like, we want to make fun of the trope of recasting a character in a show. And who better to do that with Quicksilver than another person that played him? It could be just as simple as that. But when you know that Wanda is supposed to be in the next Doctor Strange movie called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, you can't help but wonder, is this the beginning of the multiverse? When you also hear that somehow that movie is connected to the next Spider-Man movie, and we've definitely heard some things about that next Spider-Man movie, I can't help but wonder, is this the beginning? Have we officially started multiverse in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with this? But regardless of where this is going to go, that was freaking amazing. Like, I lost my mind when I saw that. And of course, that is how the episode ends. Oh. And scene. What did you think about episodes 4 and 5 of WandaVision? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. I will see you, I guess, next week.